My name is Shravan Putluri.
And I'm Julia Kempton. This is the EDG Weekly News Update.
Last month, world leaders gathered right here in New York for the United Nations Development Programme's 2023 Water Conference at the UN campus on East 47th Street. Clean water access for all is considered one of the key pieces of 17 Sustainable Development Goals the UNDP has pledged to reach by 2030. The conference, from March 22nd to 24th, was the first water conference the UN had held since 1977.
4 billion people, or half the world's population, live with severe water scarcity for at least 1 month out of every year. 500 million people live with severe water scarcity year-round. Per the UN, approximately 4.2 billion lack sanitation, 2.2 billion people lack safe drinking water, and 700 million people could be displaced due to scarcity of water by 2030, 250 million in Africa alone. Climate change has severely worsened water crises around the world, and weather-related disasters, including floods, droughts, storms, and extreme temperatures, kill an average of 115 people globally each day. Such disasters have increased fivefold in the last 50 years, according to the World Meteorological Organization.
The conference resulted in 713 varied voluntary commitments from NGOs, governments, corporations, and philanthropic donors. But as disputes arose between the conference participants, a universal, binding pledge was impossible, raising concerns that many of the commitments made may not be met in the next few years. Furthermore, some invitees from water-scarce communities in developing countries were denied visas for the conference, resulting in criticism of the conference for not including the people who could implement the solutions in the discussion.
Similar conferences, such as the COP27 meeting last year in Egypt or the COP15 Biodiversity Conference in Montreal, have resulted in mostly empty promises. Arguably, so has a lot of climate legislation, especially at the transnational level, in the last few decades.
Much of the UNDP's work, then, has taken place through climate-related finance and investment initiatives. These projects include both corporate and national obligations to the Water Action Agenda and the Water Action Decade. The UNDP says that its global portfolio of water management projects across 130 countries is valued at $3.8 billion. On March 16th, the UNDP signed an Accreditation Master Agreement, or AMA, with the Green Climate Fund, extending their existing partnership by 5 years. UNDP helps developing economies apply for investment under the Green Climate Fund.
Other initiatives presented at the water conference included the funding of a groundwater access facility in Ethiopia. The Horn of Africa is facing its 6th consecutive failed rainy season and its worst drought in 73 years. Funding for the facility would come from the governments of Ethiopia and the Netherlands, with support from the World Bank, UNDP, and UNICEF. It represents one of many efforts the United Nations Development Programme has undertaken in recent years to incorporate sustainability into economic development, from water access to climate change, albeit with mixed success.
Thank you so much for listening. Now, on to the meeting.